Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in again. This episode goes for a little bit longer than my usual videos. However, I do go into a fair bit of detail about all these solar panels. So what I'll do is I'll leave some time cards below. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just skip through. However, I do recommend you watch the whole thing because as we discuss different solar panels, we jump to and fro between some details and some comparisons. There's Part 2 coming out very shortly, and that's got more of a detailed review in terms of wattage and the actual efficiency of all these panels. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, once again, thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and see you at the next one. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to do a real world test here in Victoria with a bit of shade and a bit of sunshine with 6 different solar panels, 5 different styles. So we've got the new Bluetti MP200 solar panels here. So I've got 2 of them to test. I'll do a test in series with both of them connected and also with just one of the panels as well. We have a King's 120 watt foldable solar blanket. We've also got the King's 250 watt solar blanket. And we've also got the King's 250 watt folding solar panel. And lastly, we've got the Hardkorr 300 watt solar blanket. For all of these tests, we've been using a variety of the Bluetti portable power stations. So the Bluetti's lithium iron phosphate batteries, they're all below 80% charge. So in terms of input, should be fairly accurate and realistic and consistent across the 3 different models. We have the new Bluetti AC70. We've got the Bluetti AC60 and my personal favourite, the Bluetti AC180 that we're conducting these tests with. So out of all the 5 different types of solar panels that we have here today, all 6 of these panels have been run without any MPPT solar regulators. So everything has been regulated through the built-in MPPT chargers in all of these 3 Bluetti units. So again, a consistent result there. Now the video has been shot over 1 day. However, I picked a good day for this because the ambient temperature is about 25 degrees, which is generally what all these solar panels are tested at, in a lab of course. As you can see now, there's a fair bit of sun, fair bit of cloud. So I've harnessed the opportunity to test the same panel in both conditions. We'll also go through some shading, and we'll also speak about some different construction materials and different designs of these solar panels. And we'll talk about some price, some longevity issues, and my thoughts, because these Bluetti MP200 panels are brand new to me. So I haven't had a good chance to run them apart from maybe about 100 hours worth of use, both at home and out camping in the bush as well. The other solar panels, the blankets have been provided by some of my awesome subscribers. So thank you so much guys for lending me these solar panels for this test. My go-to for a couple of years now has been the King's folding solar panel, which is 250 watt. Admittedly, this is the second one I've had. The first one got replaced under warranty, so this one's only a couple of months old. But yeah, that's the case of solar panels that I have that are portable. I also do have a couple solid solar panels that I use, for example, on top of our roof rack. But for the purpose of this test, this is more of a portable solar test. So again, guys, I'm not a lab technician. This is not a controlled environment by any means. However, this is real world testing, and I reckon that's all that should matter. So, you know, companies advertising the wattage and the IP rating and all that sort of stuff is a good sort of baseline to know how they should perform. However, as you'll see today in this test, you're going to get a fairly accurate expectation, I guess, of what to expect once you buy these solar panels. So starting off with the cheapest solar panel we have on test here today. This is the King's 120 watt solar blanket. Now, with typical King stuff, right? This week it comes with this, next week it comes with that. So in terms of pricing, check the current King's website. I'll put links for everything in the description below. But this one came with the crappy PWM solar regulator, which I honestly just throw straight in the bin, and a set of alligator clips with the Anderson plug on the end. Also comes with the instruction manual, and it's connected via an Anderson plug. Now this, again, all these units are fairly well used, apart from the Bluetti stuff, which is brand new. So I'll have to give you like a long-term review based on that. But the King solar panel, it's got a nice fabric construction. The downside to that is you can see there's a big hole with some exposed copper in the back here. So that's obviously some chafing and some rubbing. But I mean, that's fairly consistent with the solar panel that gets thrown in the back of four-wheel drive. But for $119, this is definitely the cheapest unit on test here today. It's got a Velcro strap. It's still quite Velcro-y, which is good. It just simply opens out like this. There are no means of securing this, as in there are no legs or anything like that on the back. There are, however, some sewn-in tabs here. So there's 4 on this side, and there's 4 on the other side as well. So you can hang these maybe on your roof rack or your awning or your annex or something like that if you want to. You can see there's a fair bit of pitting on this, and that's evident from having things like dust and debris on it. And when you fold up the panels to stow them away, just the rubbing from forward driving and just general use is going to happen. For the price point, it's well and truly expected. You'll see here, even in some of the more expensive panels, have evidence of the same sort of issues. This panel performed fine on the test. We'll go through some numbers later on in the video. But all in all, it's a fairly light panel, which is great if you just want to throw it out, chuck it on the floor or your bonnet or your windscreen, and you don't need that much power. So you've got like a super efficient fridge, or maybe even no fridge in the car, for example. You just want to maintain your battery or whatever. Good unit, but again, I'd get a proper regulator. If you're going to run an external one, the Victron units are great. They're really good, especially if you get the Bluetooth model. But I highly recommend upgrading to one of them. You'll get so much more out of these panels. And the pack up is very much the same. So quick, so easy. For 120 bucks, it's a great unit. Sometimes you get them even cheaper with like a 10-meter solar extension lead or something like that. If you're the odd camper that goes here and there, you know, maybe once every 3-4 months, great little panel, perfect for just running a fridge. Some of the downsides to this, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, there is a fair bit of damage already on this unit just from stowage, nothing other than that. The Velcros are pretty good. The leads and the plugs are not that great quality. You can see there's already evidence of the cable with some sun damage just for that little gap there. The gauge of the cables, I guess it's consistent with the wattage of the panel, or relevant I should say, but it could be better. But again, for 100 bucks, 120 bucks compared to say like a Red Arc panel, which is about 1,500 bucks for similar output, it is very good value for money. Next up in the King's lineup, we have the 250 watt solar blanket from King's. Very similar in construction to the 120, where being a fabric material, nice Velcro pocket here to store all your chargers, your extension cables and adapters and things like that. This also has a Anderson plug on the end. This one's got heat shrink, whereas you notice in the other one it did not have any heat shrink, so they've obviously upgraded this sometime after they've realised it's pretty much a fail point on that one. But similar again to the 120, some Velcro. This one sort of opens out this way, and we'll kind of run out of table space real quick with these panels, but very similar in construction to the other one. Again, I'll put the link in the description below. This one has had similar to use the 120, however this one's in far better shape, so that had a fair bit of dirt and stuff on it when I got it, which explains the pitting and the damage of the surface, and that obviously limits the ability for the solar panel to do its job effectively. So this just folds in half, packs in this way, and similar to the 120, it's also got a bunch of tabs so you can hang it from various other places, but I guess these are ideally designed just to lay flat on the ground. So one step up from the King's folding blankets is the Hardkorr 300 watt folding solid blanket. This comes included with a 6 meter lead with Anderson plugs on either end. It also comes with another crappy PWM controller. I really wish they put a better controller in, especially for the price. But the panel itself, there's a few good things to love about it. I'll just move these to the side for now. It's super compact, so you can see it's lightweight. And if we compare that to the King's 250 watt panel, it's almost identical height. It's a lot thicker, but in terms of its surface area or the appearance, it's quite small, which is great. So if you're pressed for space, this is a good option, just to throw it, tuck it away somewhere within your wings, in your drawers or whatever. It's even better Velcro than the King stuff. Got a little pocket again to store all your bits and pieces. And this one to open, we're going to run out of bench space again. Basically, you've got your Anderson plug with your IP rated connector there, which is great to see. This folds out like this, and they pop out like that. And one more time, we're going to run out of bench space real quick here. Some things that I like about this and that I don't like. I like how, as you guys saw, how easy it is to pack up. What I don't like is how much material they've had to use to do that. And what happens is if you try to prop this on something, like your tie or your window or whatever, I found in my time using it, you have to always tuck the fabric away from the panels, because as we know, shading is obviously going to limit the amount of power we can produce. Another thing is, because it's in 3 sections, if you want to prop it up on something like, say this chair, like a camp chair or something that you got lying around at camp, you can only get sort of 1/3 up, whereas if you have something like the King's blanket, sorry to jump back in the King's, but something like this where it's just 2-piece, I mean, if you prop that up, you're getting far better sort of sun deflection than you are just getting 1/3, right? You're getting half. So like pros and cons, I guess, if you're laying this flat, or if you plan on laying them flat, it's a non-issue. If you're going to hang these up, this also has a range of loops here, fabric loops. They're on top and the bottom, which is good, so it doesn't matter which way is up anyway, but that's handy to have, so you can hang that on a wall or whatever. But if you're planning on running it on the ground or on your windscreen, it's not the end of the world. It's just one little consideration, I guess. But as you'll see in the test later, this performs pretty good. I'm fairly happy with the performance compared to the King stuff. It is significantly more expensive, and yeah, watch to the end of the video and you tell me if you think buying something like this is worth it. Folding it away, they've actually written here, fold this way, which is very good. Just 1, 2, and then it just folds in, just like that, and it's away. I even thought about the Anderson plug's got a nifty little bungee sort of arrangement there. Folds in and folds away, and that's the nice little lightweight Hardkorr 300 watt panel. $650 though. We'll see how it performs in the tests. Next in the lineup is this hefty beast. So it's quite large, it's quite heavy. Pros and cons. This is the 250 watt folding solid panel from King's. Again, some nice Velcro on the handle. This also has a little pouch here to store some bits and pieces. It's not the biggest one, even compared to the blankets. I reckon the blankets have got more area than this. This is, I think I mentioned earlier, this is the second version of this. The first one that I had got returned under warranty due to a failure. It just stopped working for some reason. Just like the other one, the bag is also pretty average. You can see this has already started to rip. I got a few rips from just putting the solar panel in. But I mean, the bag is a little bit less important in this than it is in the blankets, because I mean, really, it's just to carry it, really. I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to offer much protection apart from minor scratches, but if you get anything decent come through, that's quite thin, it's going to go straight through. But look, better than nothing. Some brands don't even offer storage carrying stuff. And it is a heavy unit, like I mentioned earlier, which is a pain in the bum for transportation, but it's really good. It's really good for inclement weather, if it's raining or if it's windy, this is gonna, I reckon, it's gonna hold up better to the elements in terms of windproofness than a flexible or folding one does. It's got, yeah, an Anson plug similar to the newer style. This one's got, rather than heat shrink, this has got a different weatherproof shroud, which covers all the copper, or all the insulation rather. It's got a couple of folding legs. Just pull these tabs out, get these to the ideal angle in your state. Every state's different, so look that up, guys. Don't just wing it. If you're trying to get the most out of this, make sure, yeah, you set it to the proper height. It's very easy to clean compared to the flexible stuff. You can just, yeah, be a little bit rougher with them in the maintenance aspects. And I think dust and debris and stuff don't stick as much to this, in my personal opinion, than they do to like the material type panels. Great unit for what you pay. They're really good value for money, I think. It's just if you can get over the fact they're so heavy and the fact that they take up so much space. I mean, it's only really an issue if you're close to GVM and yeah, you're trying to save on some weight. So the 250 watt folding panel was around $200 at the time of purchase. Again, with Kings, just check their website, lots of different deals. The weight that I mentioned earlier is about 14 kilos, opposed to something like the 200 watt panels from Bluetti that are less than 9 kilos, I believe. And some of the smaller King stuff is even less, again, the 120 watt panels. They're super light, manageable. But it's more the pack up space, like that's quite large, 250 watts compared to this 250 watts. So you can see, obviously just looking at it, and the 120 again, even smaller. So if you're pressed for space, I recommend the blankets. But if you've got a ute or like a big truck or something, you've got plenty of space and you're happy to carry a little bit extra weight, I think I prefer ones with legs than flat blankets that just sit on the ground, to be honest. And finally, my new favourite, I've got a couple of these actually, the new Bluetti MP200 panels. These, in my opinion, are the best of both worlds. They're super lightweight, but they're weighty enough to withstand some light winds. Not as heavy as the folding panel. That was about 14 kilos from memory. This is just around 9 to 10 kilos. It's got a really nice grab handle. It's made out of some durable plastic there. It's got a really nice waterproof pouch here with some waterproof zips. And importantly, in this unit, comes with not just a little tail, comes with actually a fair old lead on it. So it's quite long, which is good. And I love the fact that Bluetti keep using MC4 connectors. So these are industry standard IP rated connectors that are mandatory in Australia in all our solar arrays on our roofs, and for good reason. Like, they're water and dust ingress, they've got a really good connection point, low resistance. Anderson plugs aren't bad, don't get me wrong, but they're not weatherproof. The terminals can corrode after some time, especially after some prolonged use in adverse conditions, especially if you're camping near the beach and stuff like that. Another thing I like about the Bluetti is it's got all the specs and information on the technical details on the unit itself. So if you, for example, want to run 2 of these in series, or you're unsure whether you can put them in parallel with a certain MPPT charger or regulator, I should say, like a Victron, for example. You don't have to Google it. You could be in the middle of the outback. You got all the information there. It's the small things, but trust me, they matter when you're trying to make it work. What I like about this is there's a whole different array of angles you can set this to. So when you get the unit, it comes stowed in this sort of lock position, so you can't pull that out. But generally, I just leave it on 35 degrees, 35 degrees here in Australia. Just because that's the optimal range. So what that does is it limits the strap as to how far it goes back. So we've got 35, 45 and 55. The optimal in Australia, or sorry, in Victoria where I am, is between 30 and 45, I believe. So the best, just keep it smack bang in the middle, or roughly in the middle, is 35. So I'll leave it on that. And you can stow it like that. It just stays a little bit floppy, but it's no big deal. So every time you pull it out, it's already at that perfect height for your conditions. Another thing I really like about this unit, we spoke about some pitting and rubbing with the other units, and I'll show you a close up on this later. But basically there are a couple buttons here and here, And on these flexi bits, they're quite springy, if that's a technical term. But what that means is, as you can see, the panels don't actually touch each other. So I'll hold that up, and you can see straight through the camera, which means in transport, these aren't going to rub and tug and damage any of their surface. The only bits that rub are this front section here. But as you can see, the panel doesn't start till here. So you've got like a good 100 mil. So that can rub all it likes. You know, eventually after a few years, you might get some fraying and stuff on the outside, but the panels themselves don't really touch, which is great. Like that's, if you want a product that's going to last you a long time, straight off the bat, I can see that's a really good design. It's also got some really nice eyelets here in the corners. So you've got 4 of them in total. I know from personal experience with the King's style, or even the Hardkorr style, or the blanket style, how they have the sewn-in tabs, or the loops rather. They can get damaged after some time, especially after some weight and some of the heavier ones. My initial 200 watt flexible panel, the tabs only had a single stitch on them, and 3 out of the 4 literally ripped through. So I just had to stop hanging it and just leaving it flat on the ground. Whereas with the eyelets, I mean, we'll go through some scenarios later, but basically, if you were to open this out, right? Say you had really crappy weather, you could literally lay it flat and put a tent peg through all 4, and you know it's not going to go anywhere, which is good peace of mind. And with the actual surface of the solar panel, some companies call it like a croc skin style lamination. Bluetti's call it the advanced lamination. It's got 9 different layers. It's got a really good ETFE and monocrystalline style panel. It's IP67 rated as well, so you can run this in dusty or wet conditions. The conversion efficiency is 24% on this panel, which means it's a really good balanced panel. Its construction is top notch. And I said earlier we wouldn't talk about specs and things like that. Everything is on their respective websites. However, this is definitely worth a mention. This should perform better than most of the other units here that we have to test. Keep watching for the rest of the test and we'll see whether that's true or not. Yeah, so the unit itself to set up, like I mentioned earlier, just pop those legs down. It's going to be a bit hard to do on this small table, but you effectively just pop these down and just adjust them as they go. I'm doing this obviously backwards just so you guys can see. This is going to be a poor demonstration. It is hard to do on a slippery camp table, but you get the gist of it. You just pop them out, lay them flat, and you'll see when they're set up properly a bit later. Why I said earlier, I reckon these are the best of both worlds, because they're less than 9 kilos. They're adjustable to whichever angle you want. And the best part about them is they're completely IP rated, so you don't have to worry. It comes with a 12-month warranty. It's simple to fall away. You just literally push them both together like this. And the way you figure that out, there's 2 buttons here. You just click them together and then click the bottom half together, and that's away. Pack the cable up. That just simply unzips. Again, I love these MC4 connectors, and even the cable are all UV rated and stuff, unlike some of the other stuff. The Kings, like I mentioned earlier, they get sun damage and start disintegrating. These are all rated to be in the sun. And yeah, nice little carry handle. And they, because they're quite thin as well, they're large in terms of their overall stance. So they're large compared to the Hardkorr panel. They're significantly thinner though, but they're also taller as well. So this is handy, like in the back of our Ranger, I pop it between the fridge and the canopy. So for me, it works well. For some people with wagons, if you get like those K-on shelves and stuff, you can pop them up high, which is good. Again, they're super durable on the outside, 9 layer on the inside. You shouldn't have any dramas with rubbing and stuff like we mentioned earlier, those air gaps before. And if you compare that to the King's 250 watt panel, which should, keyword should, perform better than this, you can see the size difference there. What's that? About 60%. The King's one's about 60% smaller, I reckon. Yeah, and the thickness again, because it's popped out, yeah, it's about the same, I reckon. It depends on, yeah, stowage options. And price-wise, this is $100 more than the Hardkorr one. But as you'll see in the test later, this is a 200 watt claimed panel. That's a 300 watt claimed panel. and you'll be very, very surprised with the results between the two. And especially if there's $100 difference in them. Just the construction and the power output and the portability alone, I'd be more than happy to spend $100 extra for this. Whether you think the 250 watt folding panel from King's for $200 is, you could potentially buy 2 of them for the price of one of these plus some. You can buy 3 of them for the price of one of these. But I mean, it depends. Like I said, I've been through 2 of them. This is my second one of these. I can't, honestly guys, I'm not going to bullshit you. I can't tell you whether these are going to last the test of time or not. Keep watching the channel. I'll run these almost daily as well. Like I said, I've had these, I've done about 100 hours of testing so far, and I'll keep doing them, and I'll keep reporting back whether they're good or not. I've got 2 of them, so I'm committed to these. They've been absolutely fantastic so far. Are these going to stand the test of time? It's hard to say, and I'm not going to give you some BS, but I reckon they will, just based on those few things that I mentioned earlier about the eyelets, about the gaps in between, so there shouldn't be any chafing, about the really good connection points, and the weatherproof bag and the IP rating of the whole unit. You'll see in the tests that we're going to conduct later today whether they're efficient or not, and how they compare to all 5 of these other solar panels. I can tell you just from a previous Bluetti customer, I've got 4 of their other products that are not related to solar panels. And honestly, all their products have been top notch. Like all my other builds, our Patrol, our 62, our other Ranger, I've always run Red Arc, Victron and C-Tech gear, even in our camper trailers and our caravans, a combo of Red Arc and some Enerdrive stuff. All great products, really good feedback from myself and many others. However, like these guys are, I reckon, a step above in terms of innovation and technology, and they're a step down in terms of price, in a good way. They're significantly cheaper than Red Arc and Enerdrive and Victron, and I reckon they're equally as good units, if not better. They've got an awesome customer service, and I know we don't really know much about them here in Australia, but they are huge overseas, particularly in the US, and they're starting to break through in Australia. Just follow their Bluetti Facebook page, and you'll see it just grows, it keeps growing and growing and growing, which is awesome to see that a lot of Aussies are embracing a new product. I'm a big fan of this solar panel and all other Bluetti products, but let's just jump straight into the testing, and we'll see how the tests go.